Hi, this is Shotgun Tom Kelly, and now that I have your attention, you wanted to be close to him in the dugout during his impressive 15-year Major League career because he was always watching, listening, and looking for an edge. Now, Kurt Bavacqua brings that edge to Dirty Kurt's Dugout, where you can listen, watch, and be a part of the most honest, informative baseball show available today. Now, here's Kurt.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Dirty Kurt's Dugout. I am Kurt Bavacqua. You can call me KB. Right up in the, it's not in the right-hand corner of Facebook. It's just Facebook. You can make comments, have questions, and ask me anything you like during the course of the broadcast. And I will answer to the best of my abilities. And even if my abilities don't know the answer, you know me. I'm going to answer anyway. All right. Our usual thank you to Hacienda Casablanca, who supported us since day one. 700 North Johnson in El Cajon. And if you celebrate Cinco de Mayo, especially if you're in Southern California, Cindy and Tony are putting on a show for Cinco de Mayo over at Hacienda Casablanca. I might have to make my way to East County. Live entertainment with classic rock band Laguna and the original Santana tribute band Viva Santana is going to be playing. You've got authentic Mexican street tacos, the outside bar. That's what it looks like. You see this little lamp that's over to the right-hand side? I wish I could do a pointer. Can you guys see that pointer on my screen? Maybe somebody can respond. You see this? I hope you can see that pointer. That'd be cool. But anyway, let's get away from the pointer for a minute. We got the outside bar, Corona Girls. That's not why I'm going, but I'll bring my wife with me. Let her get in the middle of that stuff. And how about buying a raffle ticket and having a chance to win a beach cruiser? You know, I was going to ask producer Joe if he knows anything about the beach cruiser, but he's having some issues with his Zoom camera for some reason. If he wants to come on anyway, and you'll be able to hear his audio. Joe, you know anything about the beach camera? Beach cruiser, I mean, not beach camera.
Cruiser.
I'm thinking about this camera.
I know it's a cruiser and it goes to the beach. That's about all I know. But yeah, that's what they'll be raffling.
A cruiser.
Well, that's why I'm here. Well, like you said, if you don't know the answer, you're going to answer it anyway, and that's pretty much what I just did.
Well, okay. All right. I dug that hole for myself. All right. You got me. Okay. It's a cruiser that goes to the beach. That's what beach cruiser is. I have no idea. Do me a favor, Joe. Call Cindy and Tony and ask them what the hell a beach cruiser is. And then we'll be able to, there they are watching the show. Ask them what the beach cruiser is. I want to buy some raffle tickets. And naturally, our good friends at Lacima Oil, specifically Tom Drake, Balboa Chevron on the corner of Balboa and Genesee. That's where I get my gas all the time. And I make sure that I go by there every time I go down into the San Diego area because, it's as cheap as you can get at any other place. So I go and support my guys just like they support me. So did you guys hear about the umpire, Jeff Garcia, from the other day? Greg, how you doing, buddy? I see that Greg is tuned in, and I want to hear your comments on the kind of stuff that I'm going to be throwing out there today. It's mostly news. Look at Terrence. He knows everything. He does. Well, he's an LA guy. So Schwinn makes a bicycle that's a beach cruiser. Okay. That makes sense. See, Joe, we can rely on Terrence. No gears, just pedal powered. All right, I liked it. Is that thing I see these kids driving around in neighborhoods all the time that I'm waiting for one of them to get hit every time I see these kids? These bikes go pretty quickly. I don't know what just fell over. Some fell over somewhere. It's probably my dog running around the house. So Jeff Nelson is the umpire in this game against the A's and the Jays, which Oakland won 7-5. But that was secondary part of the story. Supposedly, according to ump scorecards, I don't think it's put out by the Umpires Association, he missed 27 calls in that one game. He was the home plate umpire. And you say to yourself, that's atrocious. I mean, 27 calls is atrocious. But I tell you what, I pulled it up and I looked at the calls and how they rate the umpires. And I got to tell you, it's a little skewed. It's a little skewed. And I'll tell you why. You know the box that you see on TV? And all of us that will come to this show and that are friends, watch the games, know the game of baseball. You know how you can tell, you can see that part of the baseball touches the box. And there are times that the umpire might call it a ball or a strike. It's all according to what the situation is. Naturally, if 90% of the ball is inside the box, it's going to be called a strike. If 90% of the ball is outside the box, outside that little line, and then there's only a very small part of the ball that's on the inner coordinates of the line, come on, folks. We got to give these guys a break. They're trying to call these pitches with their human eye, especially when you're set up on the inside corner and the pitch is over here on the outside corner. It's tough. And you see umpires set up like that on every single pitch because they don't have the balloon anymore. What I mean by the balloon is that under the chin protector that they used to have back in the day, where they could get right over the top of the catcher and they could see they're in the middle of the plate and they can see the outside corner and the inside corner. It's not that way anymore. So let's do what I suggested 2 years ago. Nobody listened to me, except some of you guys, because you direct messaged me back and made comments on social media and everything that it was a great idea. Nobody else will listen. Let's be able to challenge umpires' ball strike calls at a certain point in the game. I'm not going to call for a ball strike challenge in the second inning of a 0-0 game, even if the bases are loaded and it's a 3-2 pitch. But seventh inning on, or eighth and ninth inning, however the powers that be want to do it, give the hitter a chance, give the catcher a chance to challenge a call that goes against their team. What is it going to hurt? What is it going to hurt? It's not going to hurt. Because I'll tell you what, all of these changes that are being made to speed up the game really aren't working. They're really not working that great. When you talk about speeding up the game, Sean Manaea on the hill tonight in San Diego for the Padres against the Reds, who own a 2-8 record. I got a question. I just saw the lineup before I came on the air. I love Bob Melvin. I really do. And I even like AJ Preller. I know some of you guys don't. But why do you continue to hit guys that are struggling at the plate in key situations, key positions in the batting order? I don't get it. And I'm not talking about one game. I was a hitter. I get it. I want to stay in the second position if I go 0 for 4. Even if I look bad. Pitcher just might have had one of those days where he got me off. Striding when I wasn't supposed to be striding. Going back on the ball too late. Reaching out for off-speed pitches. Swinging at balls out of the strike zone. All the things that you do when you're not seeing the ball. It all boils down to that. Seeing the ball. And I'm going to tell you something. Although he's gotten a couple of hits in the last few games, Trent Grisham's not seeing it, and neither is Luke Voigt. But they remain in the 1 and 4 hole in the batting order today, even though Voigt was out of the lineup yesterday. That was no big deal. He needs more than 2 or 3 days to work on things because his head's all messed up. He's trying to do too much. So get him the hell out of those key spots. That's what I say. Get him out of the key spots in the lineup and put him in spots that aren't so key. It takes the pressure off of him. You know, you got Grisham leading off. I tell you what, if you can't be successful hitting in front of Cronenworth and Machado, then we've got a problem. And I know that some hitters, if they don't have a guy behind them that's swinging the bat well, and they're going to get pitched around. More on that story in a minute when I get to Joe Madden. But drop Luke Voigt to 6th or 7th. Hit Grisham 8th, 9th. 9th is right next to leadoff. Hit him 8th. Take some pressure off of him. And you might be saying to yourself, well, that's going to add pressure because they're going to want to do well so they can get back into their position. Well, you know what? Trent Grisham struggled for a lot of ABs now. You know, he's out of the gray area and into an area that you're wondering, is he really the player we thought he was when he came here? Or that AJ Preller thought he was when he came here? Was 2020 just an anomaly? We're not going to know the answer for that for probably another year or so. But he can't continue to lead off and struggle the way he is. And Luke Voigt just has to get more selective on his pitches. and not swing at breaking balls out of the strike zone. Because if I'm a pitcher and any pitcher out there, they're not going to throw this guy a fastball. I mean, he's Paul Bunyan walking up to the plate. All he has to do is take one swing, and you know what he's trying to do on each and every pitch. So take him out of the key spots. Everything will be hunky-dory from that point on, I promise. Or almost. All right, I'm going to take you back a couple of years. But first I'm going to go to Terrence with his knowledge. Beach cruisers are commonly rented at places like Balboa Island and Newport Beach, probably in Mission Bay near San Diego. So we're assuming now, because of Terrence pointing this out, and it's probably the right assumption, that what Tony and Cindy are doing is giving away one of these really cool bikes as part of a raffle on Cinco de Mayo over at Hacienda Casablanca. So that's the idea if you just tuned in and you're wondering what this Terrence Morgan guy is talking about. It's not about baseball. So Greg says the Giants own the Mets. Logan Webb beats Scherzer tomorrow. Tell you what, Mets are playing pretty good baseball, so we will see. Incidentally, the games over on the East Coast, I think all of them. The Guardians game, I know Cleveland's not on the East Coast, but it's close. D-backs at Nationals and the Giants at the Met, all postponed. And the A's put 6 players on a COVID list today. You know, why don't the Padres do what Toronto's doing? Or any team for that matter. And just say, if a player hasn't been tested for COVID, hasn't gotten his COVID shots, they can't come in to this ballpark. There's players that are going to Toronto. I mean, and making the decision that they're not going to go. There's a pitcher, can't think of his name right now, but it doesn't even matter because he's due to start the 3rd or 4th game of the season, and he's not going to go on a trip. It's a different game, folks. I mean, I couldn't be, or I shouldn't say couldn't be, I elected not to be an assistant player rep when I was with the Kansas City Royals and the Cleveland Indians because of all the things that the players used to tell me, that if the owners see you're doing this and they see that you're the player rep or the assistant player rep, you just get sent out. By that, I mean the minor leagues. And yeah, they did that. So let's get to some baseball here and take you back a couple of years. Going to get into the intricacies here. 1971. I know, it's a long time ago. Baltimore Orioles. But there's more recent examples. 4 guys on the staff won 20 games. We've heard about it before, but I'm going to remind you again. Jim Palmer pitched 282 innings. Mike Cuellar pitched 292 innings. Pat Dobson, 282. and Dave McNally was the low guy on the totem pole. He only pitched 230. So, and I didn't do the arithmetic on this, but let's say an average inning, a pitcher threw 15 pitches. Is that fair? You know, some of them are going to be 10. I mean, watch the guy yesterday do something I don't think I've ever seen before. He threw 9 strikes and struck out all 3 guys. It was really cool. Yankee left-hander. So the point that I'm trying to make here is in 1971, 50 years ago, Jim Palmer, who pitched for 20 years, and Mike Cuellar, who pitched for 16 years, Dobson, McNally, both the same, adding somewhere between 15 and 20 years. It's not like this was the only year that these guys pitched 290, almost 300 innings. So I'll get into Darrell Chaney chiming in here in a second, as soon as I get finished with this thought. 15 pitches an inning. I'm going to say an average. Might have been a couple less. It might have been a couple more, but let's just use that as an example. And let's say it's 300 innings. Is that fair? If you throw 300 innings and throw 15 pitches an inning, that's 4,500 pitches that you threw for the year. 4,500. That's 4,500. And I know you guys aren't stupid. I'm just pointing that out to be sarcastic. If a guy has 25 starts nowadays, it's a lot. It's a lot of starts. They're cutting them off at 80. They don't throw 80 pitches every game. So we're looking at about a third of the number of pitches that guys back in the day used to throw. There were less arm injuries back then because there's way more injuries nowadays than there used to be. You know why you never see those statistics? Because they don't want to put them out there. But let's fast forward to 2021 real quick. 50 years after the crazy year that the Orioles had with those 4 guys, and they continued on with great careers also. Not one Oriole pitcher, and I'm not picking on the Orioles here, won more than 6 games. 6 games. And John Mears led the staff with 146 innings pitched. You know where John Mears is now? He's on the IL with an elbow injury. Folks, here's another one of my prophecies. You read the one earlier. A $500 bat doesn't do squat for a kid with a $1 swing. So when the nerds win, you lose. And that's exactly what happened in Minnesota when Clayton Kershaw got taken out of the game after pitching the 7th inning. Not before the 7th inning, after. So he only 8 and 9 left. Had only thrown 80 pitches. And I don't give a rat's butt that it's the first game of the season and it's short in spring training. Go out there and throw it down the middle. You might have 6 guys hit the ball right at the shortstop. And he goes down in history as only one of 23 other guys ever to pitch a perfect game in Major League Baseball. But no, they took it away from us. And I am saying us, because when I found out that Clayton Kershaw was throwing a perfect game, I tuned in. I want to see it, just like I'm sure all of you did. Well, let's go to the California Angels, or is it the Los Angeles Angels? I think it's the Los Angeles Angels. And manager Joe Madden calling for an intentional walk to Corey Seager with the bases loaded the other day. And Texas up, not his Angels. Texas was already up in this game 3-2. When Texas got the bases loaded, Angels are on the field, and Joe Madden, with 1 out, Joe Madden walks out to the mound and he tells the pitcher what he wants to do. He wants to walk Corey Seager with the bases loaded. Barry Bonds-ish. Well, what do you think? By the way, Joe Madden's an analytic guy. He's an analytic guy with a little old school mixed in. And you know what his explanation was after the game is over? And listen to this and kind of take it in. And then I'm going to get to Daryl Cheney's statement on what I said earlier. Here's what Joe Madden said about walking Corey Seager with the bases loaded. The numbers are one thing. Human beings are something completely different. Hallelujah. Here's a guy who respects analytics as much as anybody and uses them in any which way to try to win a baseball game, like we all would. But he also realizes the human element is involved, of which you cannot put the human element in a computer. But yet, that's the way they're drafting kids nowadays, is through computer analysis and statistics that you see on the computer. Mitch Garver was on deck, by the way. And sometimes that gets hitters going. And sometimes it just puts them deeper into the hole. And the other thing, the Los Angeles Angels aren't even remotely a Los Angeles team. I have no idea why they call them the Los Angeles Angels. I really don't. This happened last week, and speaking of rule changes, but let me get to Daryl Cheney's. It's a different game for sure. Daryl still calls me Dirty because that's actually when I got that nickname. Daryl and I were both teammates in the Cincinnati Red organization, Daryl being on the big team, and I was making my way through their minor league system. But a couple of springs, I was on the major league roster, and that's where we got to know one another the best. And then Pete gave me that nickname. But Daryl Cheney was a player rep, and Daryl will tell you, I mean, he's a pretty honest guy. we weren't superstars. So we don't walk out of the negotiations like we saw Max Scherzer doing in this recent negotiation, knowing that his spot on a major league roster solidified. Well, we weren't like that. It wasn't like that with us, especially if you're in an organization like the Reds, who had such great players up and down their rosters on every minor league team. But even Darrell Chaney, who was a player rep, was worried about getting sent down. And he was a player rep. I was thinking about applying for it because I believed in what the union stood for and everything that we did and continue to do to this day. With that said, I thank you for that comment, Darrell. Elias Sports Bureau made a determination last week where Blake Snell was scratched from a game, and they called Nabel Krismat down in the bullpen where the relievers had just gotten to the bullpen and said, "You're probably going to start." So Nabel Krismat gets credit for a start. You know what? I don't want credit for a start here if I'm him. You know why? He pitched 3 brilliant innings. It was almost like a bullpen game. Austin Adams comes in for 1 inning, and this is nothing against him, but he comes in for 1 inning, walks 3 guys, gets out of a bases loaded jam, and he's given credit for a win. Because the official scorer can select who he thinks was the most effective relief pitcher. This is the dumbest rule I've ever heard. I understand where it puts the official scorer in a bad position. That's why it needs to be changed. This rule needs to be changed, especially in this day and age where they have all these bullpen games. But Blake Snell was given credit for a game played. That's crazy to me. Crazy to me. Well, let me tell you what happened so far today in baseball. Twins beat the Red Sox 8-3. Dylan Bundy gets the win. Rich Hill gets the loss. And like I said, White Sox, Guardians, D-backs, Nationals, and Giants, Mets all postponed. And then we've got players not going into Toronto because they haven't been vaccinated. And 6 players put on the COVID list. I thought we were done with COVID. Evidently, we're not. You know what, Nort, we need to have you come on this show and talk about the negotiations. You made a point that going into the sessions was like walking on eggs. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who would like to hear about the negotiations and what it was like being a player rep, especially back in the day when I wouldn't say the negotiations were any more or less kind of sticky than they are today, because it seems to me like these guys are really at each other's throats. And I don't think it was like that. And you can correct me when we do talk to you. I'm going to give you a call, Darrell. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everybody tuning in as usual. Continue to enjoy your favorite team. And don't forget, if you're in the San Diego area, especially in East County. Tune in. I just had Roberto Mercado from the Mayaguez radio network when I played down there. This guy was the bat boy when I was playing in Mayaguez, Puerto Rico. We've got a lot of memories. And Roberto, I send my best to you also, my friend. I appreciate it. If you're in the area of Hacienda Casablanca, go in there and say hi to Cindy and Tony and tell them that producer Joe and I said hello and that we sent you out there. And then around May 5th, that's why they call it Cinco de Mayo. That's what producer Joe told me earlier, because I asked him what day it was on. What do I know? What I meant was what day of the week it was. Not, I knew it was the 5th of May. I just didn't know if they have it on the same day of the, it's just wherever it falls. That's when Cinco de Mayo is. So it's not on a Sunday like Easter, or it's like any other holiday, I guess. Enough of that. Hey, there's the beach cruiser. Hey, pretty cool. So the beach cruisers don't have any motors on them. Okay, I get it now. They're just cool looking bikes. Those things are nice. Yeah, I'll be getting me some raffle tickets. So keep posted. Keep an eye out on our Facebook and YouTube page. We'll let you know when we're going to be on again. And thank you for watching. I know there's a big game going on at Dodger Stadium tonight. I hate to advertise their games, but kind of like it because the Atlanta Braves are in town. And it's going to be the first time that Freddie Freeman is going to face his former team in a Dodger uniform. So that'll be interesting. But also the local games in your area, and of course the game here at Petco, where the Reds are in San Diego for a 3-game series. So until next time, thank you. And you know what else? Pay attention to these broadcasts, because you'll win the $100 gift card from Tom Drake and his Balboa on Genesee Avenue Chevron station. $100 worth of gas is pretty good in this day and age. At least it'll get you 3/4 of a tank. So there you go. Did you hear that trivia question? So you never know what it's going to be. Anything that I said, anything some of you brought up and we talked about, it's a good thing. Good thing. So until next time, this is Kurt Bavacqua. Thank you again for tuning in, and I will talk to you soon. Take care, folks.